Historically, during times of economic upheaval, we have people flocking to radical ideas, and that is definitely true for our neighbors up north in Canada, with some of the explosive, mind-boggling news that is developing there right now, nonetheless, on May Day, a day that some people even conflate with Illuminati Day, of course, a very pagan and communist rich day. And on this day, we have Canada making major moves, eviscerating people's liberties and freedoms. And to talk about that, plus a lot more, we have Tim Peixoto, the Liberty Advisor, who, of course, will be talking about that, plus a lot more with us. And holy cow, I mean, Tim, we usually talk about economic stuff, and definitely Canada has been hit hard, just like the rest of the world. There's articles talking about how they have already entered into a recession because of the sickness going around. But because of this kind of economic turmoil, because of this supposed, quote, emergency, well, the government is stepping in, and they are now issuing $750 fines for not identifying yourselves to police officers. Yep, there's a, quote, temporary power. As we know, temporary powers for government are usually unlimited, never-ending powers, but there's a temporary power through, of course, an emergency order that, according to this media organization, will be better protecting people during the sickness. And I think generating revenue for bureaucratic fat cap government officials is not really something that's going to be helping anyone, as you're taking and stealing people's money away from not identifying themselves for mandatory security checkpoints. And that's one very dangerous implication. And again, they're saying here, the Solicitor General in, of course, this Canadian province where this is happening is saying, quote, it is essential that measures are in place to allow provincial offenses officers to lawfully, you gotta love these bureaucrats in their language, quote, require an individual to disclose their correct name, date of birth, and address in order to protect our communities. This is just absolutely ridiculous. This, of course, is happening in Ontario, that has declared a state of emergency since March 17th. That order is, of course, extended. It's going to be extended more. And, of course, the powers that were there, well, you know, they're most likely not going to go back. And failure to comply with this emergency order could carry a punishment of up to 1 year in jail or fines, in addition to not identifying yourself, which could go up to $100,000 for individual, or $500,000 for a director of a corporation, or $10 million for a corporation that is not abiding by these emergency protocols and rules in Ontario. And with that, mandatory checkpoints, we, of course, also have now gun grabs, as Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, announced that he is banning all assault-style weapons, specifically 1,500 types of, quote, assault style. Again, assault style is just a very vague kind of term. Not a lot of people know exactly what it means. It's just been broadly, generally used by
black and scary looking
as a way to just get as much power and control as they can from you. But Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced a ban on 1,500 makes and models of, quote, military-grade assault-style weapons in Canada, effective immediately. 1,500, that's a lot of makes. That's a lot of miles. That's essentially everything out there. And starting today, licensed gun owners, you know, lawful citizens that did the right thing, filled out all the paperwork, jumped through all the government hoops, which there's a lot of in Canada, that did the right thing, well, they are no longer able to sell, transport, import, or use any sort of these weapons in the country. Trudeau said that there will be a 2-year amnesty period to allow people who already own these firearms to comply with the ban, and that, quote, there will be fair compensation. I don't know what kind of fair compensation you could have for eviscerating and losing your rights, especially if you're living in the wilderness, protecting yourself from, of course, wild animals and bears. That's a whole nother conundrum that the people of Canada will now have to face because of good old government. He also announced that there could be some buyback programs, which of course are going to cost the taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars. Why should we disarm them? Why should registered gun owners who obeyed the law be taken advantage of and have their rights stripped away? Well, that's just the way that Justin Trudeau announced. And on top of that, let's not forget a few days ago, he is also saying that Canada will not return to normal in a very long time, only until there will be a vaccine. And Trudeau is warning Canadians that the shutdown will remain for weeks, extending it until a vaccine is developed. And we even have a recent video coming out from the Chief Public Health Officer of Canada that in 2010 was talking about and advocating for tracking bracelets for people who are refusing to be vaccinated. So, Tim, I mean, we got all the hallmarks here. Mandatory checkpoints, paper pleas, gun confiscations, forced vaccinations. I don't know what you call that in basic terms here, Tim, but it sounds a lot like totalitarianism, police state, all in the disguise of social justice warrior progressivism. And in reality, it is just the destruction of people's liberty and freedom, which is atrocious and sad to see, in my opinion. What do you think, Tim?
Well, the things I want to call it, Luke, I don't know if YouTube...
You can't even say it because the YouTube thought police are going to go after us, and we can't even make comparisons to World War II in Germany. We can't do that. We could say, you know, that, but we can't say more specific details about that. It's crazy, Tim. We're living in... the walls are coming in, Tim. This is not good. This is not good at all.
I mean, for me, my biggest issues outside of the economy has actually always been the Second Amendment. And it's not because I'm always, walking around some big gun guy. It's because I know that it's the Second Amendment that really, keeps everything else at bay. I mean, the tyrants right now, their plan has been, Donald Trump, basically helped push their plan back. But unfortunately, he's also helped advance their plan over what's gone on the past 2 months, more than anyone could have possibly imagined. And so I really had especially when Trump started talking about bump stock bans and people are like, oh, well, it's just a bump stock, and who cares about bump stocks? It's not about the bump stock. I've never used a bump stock. I've never even seen one. But the point is, we should not be talking about any more gun laws. How about we start repealing the gun laws instead of trying to add more to them? And so by trying to placate the left, you're never going to make them satisfied. So you shouldn't even give them any bone to throw whatsoever, because they're never going to throw any bone our way. And I hate even saying our, because this our and we, I don't feel like anything that's going on represents anyone, especially any of our viewers and people that think like us. But, when it really comes down to it, it's my biggest issues have been the Federal Reserve and the Second Amendment. And so with the Federal Reserve, they are essentially now owning the entire world. They are basically turning us into high-tech slaves. But what they want to do in this whole tyranny, social credit score, universal basic income, digital dollar. Here I'm, sort of rambling, but this is where everything is going, and I see them making the move right now. And we talked about, you had talked about the first issue over here about not showing your ID to law enforcement. People don't know this. At least in Arizona, if you're within 100 miles of the border, typically now it's the southern border, but about 70% of Americans live within 100 miles of a border, because it's not only just like being next to the ocean. That counts as being next to a border. And so there is something called a constitution-free zone. People might not know that those actually exist. It was, I believe, George W. Bush that signed those into law. And I've been victim of this myself, where there was internal checkpoints. I wanted to have a word for them, but I'm not allowed to use that word on YouTube. And so internal checkpoints, and they ask you, are you a citizen, and all these different questions. Usually it's not too many. But you know what? A citizen doesn't have to answer if they're a citizen, especially if there's no probable cause. You can't just willy-nilly just pull every single car over. So, I was, this is probably 2012-ish time period. I'm like, you know what? A U.S. citizen doesn't have to tell you if they're a U.S. citizen. And so the Border Patrol check guy, and meanwhile, I had never left the country. I had to go through Border Patrol checkpoint, but I had never left the country. And the other thing is, even if I did leave the country, and even if I was an illegal alien, they literally, you have the Homeland Security saying, oh, we help complete the smuggling process. And so even if I was an illegal alien, then all you would do is like ship me off to Minneapolis or somewhere deep in there and help pay for everything, and maybe give me an Obama phone back in the day. So I wasn't willing to play ball because, you know, any exercise, a right not exercise is a right lost. And so, you know what I got for that little exercise? I got M4 pointed at my head after about 2 seconds, they just let me go. They just wanted to, you know, show me who's boss and that whole deal. But and then I still was doing things to support the police. But now at this stage of the game, I mean, the only reason 26 million people are unemployed, or 30 million, I mean, it's hard to even keep up with how big these numbers are. I think it's around 30 right now, is because the police are enforcing this, and there's too many indoctrinated sheep out there that aren't willing to stand up and do something and take action. But you know, this, maybe they're not even going to need ID in the future because we're all going to be facially recognized. I mean, I've heard that they even have in China like technology where they don't even need to have facial recognition. They can like do it based off like your earlobe or some crazy crap like that. And so, you know, maybe mirror that up with some sort of like Elon Musk Starlink system. And I'm not just saying like that type of system. I don't know if Elon Musk is a part of that, but you know, who knows? Maybe Elon Musk is part of this psyop where he's, you know, out here saying workers need to get back to work, but maybe so he appears to be the good guy while he's getting like this Neuralink. Anyways, we didn't do any show prep at all. I just came back from another show I was doing, and but it just got my blood boiling because it's everything that we're warning about all being jumbled in. Like, we're just being hit with so much information that, I mean, they announced, you know, different UFOs, and it's not even something I've even looked into or talked about because there's so much other crap going on. But this is a slippery slope, but it's not a slippery slope. We're going off a cliff, and that cliff is leading right into tyranny, Luke.
Yeah, I mean, it's terrifying to hear the words, you know, there's an emergency and the government will protect you. Well, again, historically, that hasn't been the case. You look up democide. If you don't know what that word is, look it up, put it into DuckDuckGo, look up democide, share that information with your friends and family members, share this video with your friends and family members because they need to understand the other side of it. Because here in the United States, other countries have different situations, different societies, and different kind of cases. But here in the United States, when we have a gun society, we have a polite society like we do in Texas. When we have a gun-free zone like we do in Chicago, well, we have a situation that is a lot more detrimental and turbulent, not only to the sovereignty and freedom of individuals, but of course to their safety and to their protection. And again, criminals will always find a way to have guns. The government stepping in here, finding people, trying to throw people in jail. This is going to, I mean, what's happening? We know a few we know a few Canadians. All of them are weird, but this is, this is extremely worrying because this is, again, bordering the United States, and this will have a huge effect and will embolden many politicians in the United States to take similar actions. And slowly, these kind of politicians, these kind of Justin Trudeau's who are coming in here saying that they're going to be helping and protecting. No, look at the result of their actions. It's going to lead to a whole bunch of people getting robbed, getting extorted with taxes and fines, having their wealth stolen away from them by guys with guns threatening to use force if they don't. And other people are just going to be straight thrown to jail because they have a weapon that they need to and rely on in nature to protect themselves or to feed themselves with. And to pretty much ban 1,500, I mean, I don't know how many styles of different assault rifles there are, but that seems like all of them. And to implement that on such a wide
I mean, they're trying to say that semi-automatic is assault rifle, and by semi-automatic, if you then can conflate those words, basically almost every gun is semi-automatic. And so then if you can ban semi-automatics and you ban everything, and then you say semi-automatics are assault rifles just because they're black and scary. I mean, we should get Maj Toure on sometime, you know, talk about Black Guns Matter. Because this is, I mean, they're making their move on every single front, and it's just, you know, never let a good crisis go to waste, and it's like, boom, every single thing being hit at once, and we don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, I mean, focusing on Canada is going to be an important one. I hope there's some, you know, peaceful, legitimate pushback against this because this is ultimately very ridiculous. And to do this at a time of crisis is really just what government usually does. And I wanted to kind of share this quote by Ludwig von Mises, who said, "Depressions and mass unemployment are not caused by the free market, but by government interference in the economy." And when you look at what's happening, when you look at more economic devastation coming soon, we're going to have more overreach, more power-hungry plutocrats coming in there and trying to gobble up as much power, as much money as they can away from you. And it's our duty, it's our right to push back against it. Of course, peacefully, non-violently, but there needs to be a big message that, hey, you can't just trample on and destroy people's sovereignty and life and humanity and dignity all because you think you're doing the right thing. You're not doing the right thing. There's no way. Look at the cause and effects. That's all you have to do. Look at the cause and effects of certain actions. And right now, there's going to be a lot of people suffering because of the draconian evil rules and laws established by government. Look up democide, DuckDuckGo. Forget about Google, DuckDuckGo. That's why we are here sharing this very important message. If you thought this message was important, share it with your friends and family members. You doing that is more important than ever. And because you guys do that, love you guys. Stay tuned for more.
Yes.
Okay, well, you're being videoed right now.
I'm not advising you to video me.
It doesn't matter. It's my constitutional, it's my constitutional right.
You're going to arrest it right now because that's an infringement. I'm not giving you permission to video me.
Yes, I can video you.
No, you can't.
Yes, under the charter. Yes, under the Constitution of Canada. Yes, I can.
My rights.
No.
Is he here?
I just want to, do you have a warrant, sir?
Here?
Do you have a warrant? Well, let me see the warrant then.
Are you an idiot?
No, I'm not an idiot. Actually, I'm a law student. Actually, I know law. So,
Okay.
so
I'm telling
please.
you right now, there's a warrant for his arrest.
Okay.
He's been revoked. He
Okay.
needs to surrender himself to police.
Okay, well, give me
Is
the
he
warrant.
Here?
I need the warrant.
Is he here?
I'm asking for the warrant.
I don't have to show you the warrant.
Yes, you do have to show me the warrant.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do, sir.
No, I don't.
Yes, you
You're
do.
An idiot. So don't. Is he here or not?
Do you have a warrant, sir?
There is a warrant for his arrest.
Okay, I'm asking to see it.
I don't have it.
But
because I
why
don't
would you
own
come
it.
up here if you don't have the warrant?
Because it's there. It exists.
Well, tell the person. Well, you're supposed to have it.
No,
You
I
just
don't
can't
have
come on
that.
private property and just
Listen,
go ahead and do
listen,
that.
idiot. Reasonable probable grounds. Warrant exists. Held by Toronto. Toronto had us come here to get him. If he's here, he needs to surrender himself. There is a warrant for his arrest.
Okay.
That's all I got to tell you.
Okay, but I need to see a
I don't
warrant,
have to
though.
show you shit. I'm telling you
Okay.
that a warrant exists. He needs to surrender himself. Is he here?
I need to
I
see.
don't have to show you shit because I don't even know who the fuck you are. So I don't have to show you nothing.
I own this property. As of right now, you are trespassing on private property, sir.
I am in search of a person that's wanted.
That's
on a
fine.
warrant.
That's fine. You
Is
show
he
me
here?
the warrant, and you'd be more than happy
Right
to
now
show you
you're
the grounds.
obstructing me. Do you understand obstruction? Because you're obstructing me in my duty. So you could be arrested right now for obstruction. Is he here?
I need to.
I don't have to show you shit because I don't even know who the fuck you are.
On the property. Well, I own this property. You just can't come
Show
to
me
man's
some
property.
ID that says you own
I
this
don't have to
property.
show you anything.
Yes,
Under
you
the
do.
Constitution of no, I do not.
Yes, you do, because I don't know who you are.
I-
You're just some guy.
I am a person
taking my picture.
on my property.
Okay, but I
Okay.
don't know you own this property because I don't know who you are. Who are you? Who are you? What is your name?
What is your name? Thank you for answering that. What is your name, sir?
Right here.
Okay, what is it?
Right here.
You can't say it?
You want to come and see it?
You
Right here.
can't you say it?
I can. What's your
What?
name?
You tell me your name, your
I'm not
badge
knowing
number,
you.
and your other fellow officer there, please.
Ontario Provincial Police.
No, that's
who I
not
am.
good enough.
Who are you?
That's not good enough.
Well, that's not good enough. That's too bad.
If you're trespassing right now, and you don't even have a warrant.
I don't even know who you are.
You have to have a warrant.
There a warrant exists.
Okay, that's
Don't
fine.
understand that.
I have no problem. It exists. Fine. I'm just asking, can you show me the warrant? And by
I don't
all
have to
means,
show
you can do
anything
whatever you have to
because I
do.
don't know who you are. I don't have to show you. I'm telling you, a warrant exists. Is he here or isn't he? Simple question.
Simple question.
Is he here?
Show me the warrant.
Is he here?
Show me the warrant.
I don't have to show you shit.
Show me the warrant. You're on private property. It says right on the sign, no trespassing, right behind you on the tree, sir.
What's your name?
I'll
I
have-
know when I get a warrant for your arrest for obstruction, I need to know your name. Because you say you own the property. How do I know you even own the property?
Oh, what? Well, for God's sakes, man, I'm coming out of this house. You think
you
I'm not
could be
owning anything? I
breaking
broke
in.
into my own
You
place?
could be breaking in. How do I know you even fucking live here? I don't. Are one of these cars registered to you? I'll just run the plate. Is one of these cars the homeowner's?
Well,
This one.
Why is it so hard?
This one's Steve's.
Why is it so hard to
This
not?
is your car?
Chris. I just ran it.
Oh, okay. So that's Steve's car. Is Steve here?
I need to see a warrant. Before we can proceed any further, I have to see a warrant.
I don't have to show you anything. I'm telling you a warrant exists. That's all I have to tell you. Law says I have to tell you a warrant exists. I told you.
Okay.
Now you're obstructing me.
No, I'm not obstructing you.
Well, I'm telling
Because of
you,
the past, the gentleman always came up and had a warrant and says, "Here you go, sir. Here's the warrant. It's in black and white."
You, and I don't have to show you anything because I'm not arresting you. The warrant is not in your name, and it's none of your fucking business.
Excuse me. You
It's
didn't
not
have
your
to
business.
swear.
Huh?
Why? Well, you didn't have to swear at me. Let's be professional about this.
Well, I'm trying to be professional, but you're
Oh,
being
well,
an idiot.
no, I'm not.
You are. Because you're demanding stuff that's none of your business. All I'm asking is a question. Is he here because there's a warrant for him? What part of that don't you understand?
Okay, I got to make a
Do you
phone
have
call.
an
I
education?
have to make a phone call.
Phone whoever you want.
I'll be right back.